name is Louisa the Jesus here from LD Human Resources, and I'm excited to talk to you today about a very important topic that is increasingly more important and vital to today's rapidly evolving world, artificial intelligence and AI, and the impact of it in the workplace today. As we navigate through these technological advances, we really need to understand how is it that AI is shaping or reshaping the world of work for us. It is so crucial. And I'm so honored to have with me today Brandon Peters and Enzo Logozzo from F12 NET. They are both experts in this field. Enzo is a territory manager and managing partner for Eastern Canada, and Brandon is our virtual chief information officer at F12 NET. They've both got some excellent expertise. Welcome, both of you. Please, let's hear more about what is it that you do and your background so that we can get right into this topic today and share with our viewers this incredible information.
For sure.
Enzo.
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity. So yes, I am part of F12 now. Been in technology for over 20 years, but I have been part of other industries, including manufacturing, human resource, and nonprofit. And obviously, always adapting to technology, which changes, has always been a game changer in the marketplace. And that's basically my goal now, to help customers get ahead of the curve and learn how new technology can help, as well as the risks that come with it.
Amazing. Thanks, Enzo. And Brendan, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, echo Enzo's sentiments here. Very much happy to be here. Very exciting to be talking about artificial intelligence as it's gaining more and more ground. For myself, I've been with F12.net now for just about 10 years.
Wow.
I came through part of an acquisition in 2016. And I've been in the IT space for coming up to right around 17, 18 years now. And that's been across, similar to Enzo, field of very different business verticals, different types of engagements through help desk, project services, network design, you name it. I think what it comes down to is I'm not content sitting still for too long. So I'm always out there pursuing the next big, exciting thing and always happy to learn more about what's coming.
Thank you so much. And listen, I think this is amazing that you're joining us and eager to hear your insights on how AI is transforming the world of work today. So let's dive right into the questions. I guess, what is it in your opinion that you feel are benefits or risks of AI at work?
Yeah, from the benefit side of things, I think it's really interesting because I don't think everybody yet fully realizes and understands exactly what AI is going to bring to them. Either they are underestimating it or in some cases overestimating it, thinking that it is going to be this overarching replacement for them.
Yes,
and I think that also becomes one of the detractors as well, is that people rely on it too much at a time when it's not quite ready to be that full-on replacement, let it loose to the world, let the exact wording or scheduling or images or whatever you're using it for today go directly out into the world. It's not quite there yet. And I know security is also going to be very much forefront for a lot of people. The boogeyman these days is, are my employees suddenly going to be able to use AI to search for salary information, for upcoming mergers and acquisition information, things that they shouldn't have access to? And it's really taking people to the next level as far as making sure that their permissions, their security, those various elements are getting re-examined as they're moving into an AI space.
Yeah, definitely. And there's privacy concerns, right? And so did you want to talk about that?
Yeah, no, I was going to say he hit it dead on that, AI is extremely interesting and, it's coming. Like there's no question about that. But it's, are people and companies prepared for it, right? The one thing I'm always voicing to companies is like, yeah, AI is a great assistant for an employee, right? Because it can help them do a lot of tasks much quicker. But if you're not set up properly, what information are you possibly, going to leak out to employees that shouldn't have access to, right? Because the AI has a much stronger knowledge of your network and searching capabilities than, an average employee would, right? So that's been the stuff we've been bringing to the table of saying like, yes, great, it's going to be a great assistant, but also there's, security and privacy things to consider before unleashing it to everybody.
Absolutely. I'm sure you see that all the time. Even when it comes to emotional intelligence, right? A lot of people, like you said, they use it to create efficiencies, but how does it fail or include or consider, I should say, that emotional intelligence aspect? Does AI have that capability? Is it going to replace individual human contact and elements of emotional intelligence that way? What do you think about the emotional intelligence aspect and, whether that's something that it includes right now or will maybe fail to include?
Well, and I think what it comes down to as well is it very much tries to replicate human emotion. It tries to replicate that sentiment. It does not always succeed. And that can err on both sides of it, where it doesn't capture that emotional intelligent conversation piece. It misses it completely. Or in an instance, I'll give a quick example. We had somebody wander into our office earlier this week who was not invited after hours. When asked to leave, he wouldn't. I'll spare the details there, but in writing an email to the staff about some of the best practices for making sure that we stay safe in this space and making sure that, at 5 o'clock comes, doors locked, that kind of thing, I used Copilot to help me with the draft. And Copilot started almost like, finger wagging at me, being like, no, you are very much labeling this person as an intruder. Maybe you should choose a different word that doesn't label them quite so much. And I'm thinking, no, I'm good with this being part of the messaging, but it was very much the sentiment of political correctness that was being applied in a situation where it wasn't necessarily appropriate to really fit into the conversation.
Yeah, and I find obviously playing around with AI and Copilot, like Louisa, you and I have known each other for a few years now, so you already know kind of the way I speak, the way I respond to messages and all that stuff, right? If I start using Copilot, it's totally gonna miss the Enzo effect on those emails, and then it's almost like, whoa, hang on a second, like he doesn't usually speak like this, or he doesn't use this tone, or he doesn't use this type of grammar and spelling and stuff like that, right? Because once again, AI does not know me, right? Now if it's for a brand new relationship, fine, it's going to be a bit of a no character really to it, right? But when it comes to that relationship and that emotional side of communicating with people, it still is way far off from capturing that at the moment.
Yeah, I think you raise a really good point, because a lot of the times people use AI to help with communication and position and messaging, and depending on the audience and also who it is, that's it loses that personal effect. Like I can tell you, when I receive emails, you can tell when it's been written by a computer versus a human being. Sometimes it's that obvious, where other times you're like, oh, wow, this person just sounds like a genius. But what does this mean? And so simplifying those pieces are really, really important. But I think on that aspect, to what you had mentioned, I think both of you had mentioned earlier, is, there's this fear that AI is going to result in job losses, that there's all these efficiencies and they no longer need me, the human being, to do this job. So, do you see AI, I guess, how do you see AI influencing the job market? Is there an opportunity for perhaps job creation versus displacement? What's your thoughts on that?
I think as with any new technology, you're going to see a bit of both. I think some of the displacement side of things, it's very much about the business more so than the technology. You're going to end up encountering businesses who say, oh, we've adopted AI technologies and we've been able to reduce our workforce by 30%, or some of these news stories that we see over the last 6 months or so. My opinion, very much so, because I don't know each and every one of these businesses, is that there's probably efficiencies to be gained even without the help of AI in those businesses, and AI is being leveraged very much as that scapegoat in a sense to justify the reasons for some of these changes. But at the same time, when you're talking about the job market that might expand with this, AI is a beast all its own. It's something that you're going to be able to take and run with for sure. But if you want to be really successful and truly hit the ground running with AI, you need to learn first how to communicate with it. And we're hearing more and more often that this is not necessarily technology driven. This is not necessarily a young person's game because they're the ones who know the technology. It comes much more from the managerial side. People who have those skills. Enzo said it perfectly. It's the assistant. People who have those skills at managing another person, at being very direct with the asks and the requests that they're putting out there to their team, and know that they can trust, but have to verify on those results as well. It cannot be just the trust. It has to be a little of both.
Yeah. The AI, I found, and we actually found a few studies that actually backed it up, that from a management standpoint, technology such as Copilot and stuff like that, yes, there are great efficiencies there, because you don't have to reach out to 10 different people to pull a little piece of information for your reporting, right? But once again, these are, to be a manager, it's usually someone that's had multiple years of work experience. They kind of they earned the experience to have that position, so they could really make use of the AI rather than someone just saying, write me an intro email to this customer, right? Or anything of that nature. Once again, yes, there's going to be a bit of loss, but it's, as Brandon said, it's more of a scapegoat than anything, because once again, we've been into companies where we've said, hey, we could actually increase your, this process just by using automation, which has nothing to do with AI.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So, AI is being used as a scapegoat, but I do think it is a definite tool for anybody's career to understand how to use it to, be more, get better time management, basically. Right. Life is very busy. A lot is expected out of people. 40 hours is not enough. So
absolutely.
Let alone for those short weeks where it's you're going to be doing that in 32.
Short weeks are the worst. Short weeks are the worst.
I hear you. I hear you. I guess my final question, just based on what you were just saying, is like, what are the key skills or most important skills for employees to have or develop in order to stay relevant and work in an environment that applies AI, that has is one with AI, if you will?
Enzo, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this first and get some of how you're embracing the day-to-day.
So for example, myself, being in the sales marketing side of most companies or business growth, for me, it's more, I'm using it more for researching, right? Tell me about this company. What do you know about this executive, right? So it does save me a lot of time from checking, let's say, about 20 different sites trying to get the information, right? So it does speed up my whole process of, is this company a good fit for us? Am I going to be reaching out to this company? What do I know about this company? And what do I know about the CEO? So for myself, it's been very, very good. And I'll be very honest, that is not something that technically, we would give to somebody else, right? Because it's, once again, because it's part of sales and the whole relationship building, the more I know, and that the better I'll be with that customer, right? Instead of someone just coming to me saying, here's a lead, here's a company, and here's the CEO, right? Anybody can find that, right? Another thing I saw very, very, very well is, people using AI in accounting with these crazy spreadsheets, which, I'll be very honest, I am terrible at any formula in Excel, because I just don't use Excel that much, right? But I have seen accounting departments where they've just said, like people have said, you know what, just by using this, by learning how to use this AI in my daily job, this has saved me about 10 minutes a day. They're happy with 10 minutes, right? Because at the end of the week, it's almost an hour gained,
Absolutely.
right?
Mhm.
So that's where I've seen, the true gain. So I would say basically, depending on your position and your daily role and what applications you're using also, like, are you a big Word user? Are you a big Excel user? Are you a big PowerPoint user? Then you need to basically, work on your skills of how AI works really, really well with PowerPoint or with Excel or with, Word, right? And I think that's where people really benefit from it.
Amazing.
Yeah. And I think you've nailed it very, very well. You really have to look into what your needs are as an individual. What are you working with regularly on a day-to-day basis? Is there a data component? Are you looking at analysis? I mean, when we talk about AI, a lot of people are hearing Gen AI, generative, as part of the buzzwords, but that's not the only kind. There is also a summative AI or summative AI, as well as predictive. And we're seeing people starting to adopt AI into analyzing patterns and summarizing data. But it can only do that if you know what you're asking for. It can't be this magic wand that you say, hey, pull our, last quarter sales reports and tell me the important information I need to know. That's not specific enough. You need to be asking it about things like profits, expenses, pardon me, whatever those elements might be. You need to ask it the direct questions. You need to have that skill set and know how to communicate with it. But on the flip side, you also need to be not only aware of your limitations, but aware of where you think you might be strong. There's still a place for AI to step in. My background is in literature, so I've got a degree that very much lends itself to writing and editing, and I still use AI every day to get started. I am terrible for developing writer's block and just getting things off the ground. AI has really pushed me to that level of, great, I've got a framework. Now let's put, to quote Enzo from a little bit earlier on, let's put a little bit more Brandon in this and figure out how that's going to flow.
Yeah.
And I think from that skill set side of things, you have to realize that just as you would ask a colleague or a friend or a partner for, a quick review or guidance on something that you're sending out, especially something of import, feel free to ask the AI out there to do the same thing for you, as long as you take it with that grain of salt.
Yeah.
Once again, AI is your assistant. Think of it as an assistant, right? Like in any other place of work, if you have an assistant that's helping you, you're telling your assistant, like, I need these numbers from these reports. And they go and do it. And AI is going to be no different. You have to be very specific in, this is what I'm trying to capture, right? And it will go off instead of just saying, tell me what to do, right? And that's been one of the biggest learning curves for people. They think it's like the magic solution of, oh, it's going to do my job.
And I think that, you raise an important piece there. It's like any information that you're getting from you need to validate it. You have to personalize it. So to partner with AI is definitely going to be resourceful, and I would say part mandatory, because AI is here.
And so Microsoft even, like, Copilot will even give you that message of saying, hey, this is, basically the human touch is still required here. You need to read this before you send this, right? And they're even giving you warnings of it, right? So there's a clear indication of, yes, you can't trust it 100%, where even Microsoft's telling you, hey, don't trust it 100%. You need to read this, right? And you need to add your touch. That's the way I personally use it. I'll get it to write a portion of stuff, but then I always go read it, make sure it actually makes sense to what we're discussing. And I add that personal touch of, what I know about the person or the client, right? The Enzo branding on top of it.
Yeah.
And if I can add one piece to that just came to mind as we were talking here, it goes back to a piece we discussed about some of the privacy concerns when we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about skill sets to develop, is know when you should not use AI.
Mm-hmm.
There are instances, Samsung had a department that uploaded a bunch of their proprietary, very sensitive code into ChatGPT. That's out in the world now. That's part
Yeah.
of the large language model that
There's no
comprises that
security.
AI. You have to be familiar with your company's policies, as well as understanding where your crown jewels, where your important data lies,
Mm-hmm.
so that you can make sure that you are protecting it for the betterment of your business.
Absolutely. That's a very important. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you both for sharing your valuable insights with us today. I mean, it's definitely clear that while AI offers tremendous potential and benefits for
Mhm.
basically revolutionizing the world of work and
Yes.
workplaces and even in terms of the recruitment aspect, you know, having people come in the door, it also has its set of challenges and risks and
Mhm.
considerations that we really need to recognize so that we're using it to the best of the ability.
Absolutely.
So it was really excellent to hear that perspective from both of you as experts today. For our listeners and our viewers today, feel free to reach out to Enzo, Brandon, or myself if you'd like to continue the conversation. We
Yeah.
will have all of their contact information on our social channels. They'll be tagged. So thank you again both for coming today. It was a great conversation. I appreciate it.
Thanks so
Thank you
much
very
for
much,
having us.
Lisa.